Since 2001, the Devil May Cry series has become one of the most popular hack-and-slash franchises to date, and even though like every franchise it has experienced its fair shares of ups and extreme down moments, Capcom was looking to bring this series back to form in the first true sequel that we've received in over a decade. Devil May Cry 5 has been stated to be the final entry in the Sons of Sparta era, so the only question remaining is, does this game give us, the fans, a satisfying conclusion to this long-running series? The story for Devil May Cry 5 takes place 5 years after the events of Devil May Cry 4, and over the course of the game's timeline, it seems to jump over a period of about a month, and has us following the three protagonists, Dante, Nero, and V. Since the events of Devil May Cry 4, Nero has gone on to establish his own demon hunting agency with the help of his friends Kyrie and Nico. But one day, a random man manages to easily rip off Nero's demonic arm to reclaim the Yamato, leaving Nero badly injured. A few days later, a mysterious man named V meets Dante at his shop and hires him and his friends to take down a new demon king named Urizen, who has just recently appeared. Dante and his friends attempt to battle Urizen, with Nero and V being within the same area, but Urizen turns out to be too powerful and manages to easily defeat Dante and capture his friends, forcing V and Nero to retreat. A month later, Nero returns, now equipped with a new robotic prosthetic arm, and now working alongside V, once again attempts to take on Urizen once again and hopefully discover not only what happened to Dante, but what exactly is Urizen's connection to all of them. Now, me being a story-driven gamer, I can happily confirm that not only does Devil May Cry 5 give us a satisfying conclusion to our current storyline, but it is undoubtedly the best storyline in the entire franchise. How this game manages to balance out three different storylines with each character and allow them to build off each other is something I found really impressive. Just like their distinctive gameplay styles, each character is bringing a different tone as the story progresses, and each time these characters interact with each other, it is handled quite well. If I had any real problems with the main campaign, it was simply based on how certain characters were handled. For example, I felt that Dante's friends Lady and Triss didn't even really need to be here, as they're not given much screen time or given much to do and are simply used for exposition. And as for the main villain Urizen, I have to confess that he really felt kind of one-noted and underwhelming throughout the majority of the game, but it wasn't until his identity was revealed that he started to get really interesting to me. And though there's an old saying that goes, your heroes are only as good as your villain, I think that statement is proven false this time around, as I felt that the three protagonists on their own did a much better job at holding this story together without the need for a deep and compelling antagonist. When it comes to the gameplay of Devil May Cry 5, it has elevated this department higher than it has ever been throughout the entire run of the series, feeling better, faster, and smoother than ever before. Over the course of this series, the highlight of the gameplay has always been based on dispatching your enemies in style and giving you a wide collection of weapons, techniques, and abilities to do that with to make you feel like a total badass. Dante, Nero, and V all have distinctive fighting styles that enhance over the course of the game to keep things feeling fresh and preventing things from feeling repetitive, with a wide collection of enemy types that require a lot more than simply button mashing, and really takes a level of skill in order to master taking down some of the harder enemies that you encounter on the higher difficulties. Dante's gameplay style will feel the most familiar, as his approach to combat is the most straightforward offensively out of the three main protagonists. It is built upon simply overwhelming your opponents, with Dante being granted the highest collection of melee and firearm weapons to switch between in the middle of combat to keep your combos going, and with the inclusion of the style system, which gives you 4 different combat styles in the forms of Swordmaster, Gunslinger, Trickster, and Royal Guard, it grants you even more variety, with each distinctive weapon allowing you to change up your approach with each weapon on the fly. Nero's gameplay style for me felt the fastest, and that style was really required to be the most skilled to master, because while Dante's style and variety is based on his weapons, Nero's variety is based on all the different Devil Breaker arms that he has at his disposal. Each Devil Breaker arm is very different, and depending on which arm you are using, it really has a serious effect on how you play. And why this is important is because all of your Devil Breaker arms are very fragile and will be destroyed should you take damage, which makes knowing how best to use each different arm at different ranges very important to build up your combos and to keep your offense going. V's gameplay style is without question the most different amongst the three protagonists because, in a physical sense, he actually doesn't do much fighting. What his style is based upon is relying on his three demon allies to attack enemies for him, and then once they are weakened, V can then come in and deliver the killing blow. The Eagle Griffin is used for long-range attacks, the Panther Shadow is used for close-range melee attacks, and the Golem Nightmare is the heavy hitter, and between the three, he can only be on the field for a short period of time during battle. Another element of V's gameplay style is that his two primary allies, the Griffin and the Panther, are really his best means in order to attack, defend, and evade. And this makes it extremely important to know how to use them properly, because if both of them go down, that leaves V very vulnerable, being unable to defend himself. Devil May Cry 5 also fixed the biggest issue that I had with Devil May Cry 4, which was how it handled its three main characters during their campaigns, as this time around you will be switching between Dante, Nero, and V every couple of missions in order to keep things fresh, and each character has their own distinctive path that they have to follow, with very few backtracking, not needing to make the game longer than it needs to be. A new element that was also introduced that I was surprised about was a semi-co-op element. In certain sections later on in the game, you can actually fight alongside another character. However, I don't think you can actually control who you are playing with, and these moments are very few and in between. The shop has also returned in two forms, which allows you to purchase different abilities for Dante, different Devilbringer arms for Nero, and different attacks for V's demon allies to perform, and they can all be purchased with the use of red orbs that you will collect over the course of the game. There are also plenty of boss fights spread throughout the game for each character to battle. However, outside of one specific boss, they're really not too difficult to bring down even on the hardest difficulties. When it comes to game design, Devil May Cry 5 is bringing the highest quality of this department that we have seen in this franchise to date. The visuals are simply incredible, both of the character models and all of the environments that you will explore. The sound design is top tier, with the music adding to every atmosphere and every engagement that you will encounter. The voice acting performances were wonderful, making it even better with a good amount of returning cast members from previous games, adding a new level of quality that feels more connected to the previous installments. Unlike other AAA titles that have come out this year, I encountered no technical issues of any kind, and the camera movements and frame rate continued to run smooth regardless of how intense the action on the screen became. In all, Devil May Cry 5 really is a great conclusion to this series, building upon and improving on every aspect that has been a part of this franchise without repeating any of the mistakes that have been a part of this series, and being a clear example of how top quality AAA titles these days should be handled. Now, if you can't already tell by now, Devil May Cry 5 was an absolutely incredible game. It has officially dethroned Devil May Cry 3 in terms of being my new favorite entry in the franchise, and in terms of this being the possible conclusion to the Son of Sparty storyline, though it didn't end the way I personally would have done it, I think that it is a satisfying conclusion that works, that I think most people can accept. They absolutely improved upon absolutely every single aspect of the Devil May Cry franchise that we've had up to this point, and they managed to add a number of elements that I wasn't expecting to work as well as they did. I think the pacing was absolutely incredible. I thought the mixture of different types of gameplay styles between three main protagonists was handled perfectly well, and the amount of time that you actually spend with each section at a time. Therefore, you're not spending too much time with one character, and it manages to jump between character to character and manages to stay fresh. That is very, very difficult for a game as long as this. Another thing that I also did not anticipate was the fact that they managed to enhance the gameplay style. I mean, the gameplay for Devil May Cry 5 is better than it has ever been, to the point where I might have a hard time going back and playing some of the older games because of how much fun I had playing this game. If I had any real problems, it would be simply that the main antagonist was just so underwhelming. I thought how certain characters were handled could have been handled better, and the fact that I was just slightly disappointed with the handling of my personal favorite character of Devil May Cry ever, and I just wish he was in this game more. Now, hopefully there's a chance that we might get some DLC content. We're not sure, but I think a character as big as my favorite character in Devil May Cry has to get some DLC content. It's just, there's too much of an opportunity to let that pass. So, if I had to give Devil May Cry 5 a rating, I'm going to give it a 9.5. Absolutely excellent game. This is an absolutely must-own title. Do I think that it's going to win Game of the Year? Probably not. Do I think it deserves a nomination? Absolutely. But as of so far this year, this is without question my best game that I've played this year. And I don't know what's going on with Capcom, but outside of the first section of Resident Evil 2 Remake and this game, they've been on a roll. I think it's officially safe to say that Capcom has made a serious comeback. So, those are my thoughts on Devil May Cry 5. If you've already played this game and liked it, please share your thoughts with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And please feel free to press the links in the description down below so you can follow me on all my social media outlets to be able to keep track of me and enhance the channel. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.